Welcome to the Perfectly Sane Show, episode 684. I am Chris, as always, joined by Tony.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, Mr. Putin. Thank you.
Look, I did not stumble through the intro. Let's keep comparing me to Biden every week. Earl is here as well.
And I am also just going to put it out here that Kamala Harris is not replacing me on this podcast.
Good.
Contrary to what her polling numbers may or may not be. I'm in it for the long run. So, yeah.
I think on this podcast, you're probably outpolling Kamala Harris. Just saying.
You never know.
I'd vote for you. I'd vote for Kamala Harris too if she were I'd vote for a trash can. Like
I tell people, I mean, honestly speaking, at this point, if he's dead, I'm still gonna vote for him over the other guy.
Yeah,
so.
I'll vote for a plastic skeleton. I don't care. Like, it's better than Trump. And Jeff is here.
Look, listen, really think about it.
Relax.
Medicare. You know what I'm saying? Right?
No.
Anyways.
might be the issue.
Anyways.
Good to know. Medicare. That's what Jeff's saying. Yeah, it's been a week. A weird week. Xbox raised the pricing and changed some tiers and did some weird shit with Game Pass. What do you guys think about that?
I didn't realize. At the end of the day, like the very short headline of that is like they're raising prices.
Yes.
Yeah. I did not realize like how many tiers and like options there were in Game Pass, because I was like frantically messaging Chris like because one of the things that they said is like Game Pass for consoles is going away or is being shuttered. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, you could people who already have it can use it. Are you telling me that people like cannot sign up for Game Pass on Xbox? And no, it was just some tier of Game Pass that I did not even know existed in the first place is they're getting rid of.
Well, I think it's new.
Well, so
no, it's not new. They're getting rid of.
Yeah, there was Xbox like console only Game Pass. There was PC only Game Pass.
Yes.
There was Game Pass Core, which was just Xbox Live.
Yes, rebranded.
And I think what Jeff and I figured out is that console only Game Pass was Game Pass with day one games, but no online play.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just didn't know it was an option, and I guess I just don't care.
Does any of us,
whatever, you know?
Right? do any of the four of us not have Ultimate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I
like, I don't know why you wouldn't pay for Ultimate. Like, it's just like it's not that much more. It's not that much more expensive. It comes with all those benefits, and
I could see how somebody we're pretty tuned in. I could see how like one of my friends would just be like, "I got an Xbox. I'm gonna get Game Pass." And
because to be fair, before I think it's easier before they rebranded it because it's very clearly Xbox Live and then Game Pass are two different services.
Yeah.
But now you have Xbox Live. I mean, you have Xbox Game Pass Core and Xbox Game Pass, which you would think if you have Xbox Game Pass Core, because you actually don't get the Game Pass features with that.
You get like some weird features with it. Like it's basically PS Plus, like a low tier version of PS Plus where you get some games. There's like a list of games, and you'll get those, but you don't get everything in Game Pass.
Yes,
it's that honestly, like all these tiers and this and that, it reminds Plus because like that has the confusing like here's what you get if you pay this price and this and that. And it's like ultimately, if you could afford it, why not just get the good, everything so you don't have to think about it, which is where I'm at. But like, now that it's $20 a month to get that good thing, I'm fine with it. I'm fine, but like every time you go up, you're pricing some people out of it, and I kind of worry about because every streamer, everything like every year
Everybody's
they just
raising
it's
prices.
another
Yeah.
it's another $2, and it's like how much higher can you get with the Game Pass? Before I'm like, you know what, maybe it's not as good a deal as I thought because Microsoft is only putting out X number of games per year that I care about.
Yeah.
Maybe it becomes a deal where it's like I'm going to cancel you right now, but when you release the new Gears, I'll come back, or you release Indiana Jones, you come back. Like I know people do that. I am terrible at it. Like I keep going, I should cancel Netflix, but
I have a friend and he will like, all right, the next 2 months I have Netflix and I'm going to catch up on everything I missed on Netflix. Then I'm canceling that. I'm moving to Hulu. I'm going to catch up on everything I did not see on Hulu. And I'm like, that is incredible discipline.
There's no way.
I am so terrible at that.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah.
$20 a month, like they haven't priced me out yet. I think it's still a good value. But that's kind of, I don't know. The big thing on this is, prices are going up. I don't know what else. Like the other thing is, I was just like, wait, what? They're canceling this one. They're canceling part of Game Pass, but it's something that probably very few people used anyways.
Which,
That seems likely. Yeah.
That would be why you cancel it, right? Like, well, people aren't really using this version, so we're gonna like fold it into this new thing, and basically, if you were gonna use this thing, we're gonna make it less incentivized for you because now you're not gonna get Avowed, you're not gonna get Indiana Jones, like you're gonna have to pay for those games. You're still gonna get games, which is great, like, but you're not gonna get the brand new games. If you want that, you got to pay the extra $5.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I want the new games, and I don't know. It seems like overly confusing and convoluted for no reason. But to have the different options for people is fine. I'm fine with it. Like
I don't think it's the option. I think once you start having to for people like us who kind of understand, once you start having to do, it's the same issue we had with PlayStation Plus Essentials, and PlayStation. What I said, Premium, whatever the three tiers are.
I have no idea. I just bought the most expensive one because it was like I know that has everything. Like
yes, but if you're a parent and it's like, what do I need?
Absolutely.
And that can go.
I could tell you from my GameStop days that when parents get confused on something like this and you give them the answer, that you're going to hear what they want to hear.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But that's also, we talk, people always talk about the Wii U and it's confusing with this name. And what it is, it's kind of the same thing, just on a much, on a smaller level in some regards, but also in a much more impactful way.
Well, all they do, it happens is they buy their kid the wrong version of the Game Pass. Their kid tells them that they're fucking assholes and they hate them, and they go to their room and start crying.
And Jeff not speaking from experience.
I was that little kid. Fuck you, Mom.
Jesus, I have seen those videos. It's like, this is kind of insane. Yeah, that's ultimately what it is. There was some. It's like anytime prices go up, and there is a discussion over value. I think that's fair. Like everyone's going to have different value points, but everybody now going the doom and gloom of Xbox, like, oh, Xbox been 0 days since Xbox stepped on a rake again. Like,
oh yeah,
well,
yeah.
And to be fair, and I think we've had this conversation before in slightly different regards. One of the things then becomes like the quantity of their releases. If you don't have as many releases, like that is part of the value ask, is like you are having all of these games come out and we're not getting that. So like what am I actually paying for? What's the increase for? And I think that's a totally fair question to ask.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that has come up from the price increase is, okay, now we can start questioning. Like, yes, it comes out in September, so it's easier for them to say, like they have Indiana Jones by then. They have a few games lined up for the end of the year, so it's easy.
Their fall is huge this year. It's probably the biggest fall that they've had
on this system.
in a decade. Like I don't know that Microsoft has released this many games at once.
But can they keep that momentum going? Because it's not just a value ask now; it's a value ask every year.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the reality of any streaming service too, though. Is like, is this worth me holding on to?
Yeah.
And people are more disciplined than some of us. Where it's like
we're not.
They will cancel it.
We have no.
I think that's way too much effort. Like I will cancel if there's a better deal that comes along. Like I usually cancel Peacock, because like you can usually get it for like $20 for the basic tier for a year. I'm like, yeah, that's saving me a crap ton of money. I'm gonna do that.
Meanwhile, I'm paying $5 like a sucker every month.
Yeah, that's a sucker.
Or it's probably $6 now. They probably upped it on me. I don't even fucking notice anymore.
To be fair, yes, that
magic $7 just evaporates from your account.
Oh yeah.
Netflix is one thing, but that happens with my Apple TV account because I don't use that often. And like every month they charge me, I think it's $10 now. I'm like, right, I still have this.
You should watch. There's some good shows, Earl. There's some good shows.
I've watched a lot of their shows. I've watched Ted Lasso. I've watched After Party. I've watched Zoot. I've watched what's this, not Psych. What is the one with Harrison
I know what one
Ford?
you're talking.
I know what you're talking about. They have good shows too, though.
Yeah. What? That show's fantastic.
They also have good shows.
They have good shows. What show is Harrison Ford in? I didn't realize he was.
It's like a Shrink one, right? Like
yes, maybe it's called Shrink.
I think it's called Shrinking.
No.
Maybe
Shrinking.
Yeah,
Shrinking?
It's him and Jason Segel.
Okay.
You didn't like that show, Jeff?
No, I didn't watch it. I watched like all their sci-fi.
It's good. It's so good.
I say I could see Jeff as a Severance person, which I do still.
Severance is awesome. Did you watch it?
I've not watched it yet, and I got time. Apparently, season 2 is not coming out until next January.
Yeah, I know. Severance is good, but they had a show that just aired called Dark Matter that was really cool, man. Really fun.
Oh, yes. They also had what was it that I watched recently? Not recently. Mystic Quest.
I've heard of that one.
It's the one with the guy from not the League, Always Sunny, who runs a game studio.
Charlie Day.
Is it Charlie Day? I thought Charlie Day was the other one, the guy that was in Pacific Rim.
I mean, he is. I think he is the one in Pacific Rim.
No. It's the one. It's Mac.
Okay.
Rob something or another.
McElhaney.
Yes.
Charlie Day helped create Mystic Quest. Him, Rob McElhaney, and somebody else. Oh, Megan Gans, who is a producer on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes, but yes, I use my Apple TV. Honestly, at this point, I think my friend has access to it, and I'm just like, yeah, somebody's using it. Somebody's getting my $10 worth.
I used to make fun of Apple TV and call their shows not real because nobody watches them. But again, I've seen like at least 3 shows now on there that I like really, really enjoyed. So I can't.
The thing with any streaming services, I think there's going to be content that's worth watching.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Yeah,
it's like, is it worth watching? Like your friend, I do think like there are Peacock. I mean, Peacock's a different beast for me because it has Russian, so I'm always using Peacock at least once or twice a month. But like outside of that, like I can't tell you outside of Russian, I can't tell you how many original shows I've seen or movies. Though they are usually pretty good at like having who's that, NBC Universal? It's like their movies, like they, when they did Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills, they did Megan. So like their movies come out within like 2-3 months of theatrical release. But like show wise, yeah. Paramount Plus. I honestly try to. I mean, I have my friends Paramount Plus, but I try to force myself to find stuff to watch on that.
Yeah,
I don't use it that often.
no.
Um, um, what else
It
is
makes it
there?
hard to recommend things to people because you're like, like I'm coworker be like, any good shows been watching recently? It's like, yeah, Dark Matter is great on Apple TV.
What is
Oh,
it
I don't,
on?
I don't have Apple TV. Oh,
Yeah, it's
well,
like, oh, did you watch this show? It's on Hulu, or did you watch this show?
yeah.
It's on
And
Netflix. It's like,
I always like if it's good enough, like it's worth getting a month, like paying the whatever the $5 to watch the show. You know what I mean? Like, but it's just like
Yeah.
hard ask. If they're already bought in on it, then it's like yeah, they'll check it out. But to tell
Which is
someone to
why
sign up for
people,
something is like tough.
which is why people are more willing to give Netflix stuff a try because most people already have access to
Everyone
Netflix.
has it, yeah. Like,
Yeah, where it's like, oh yeah, you for like the whole thing today, even though it's not confusing, I understand. Right, we like the HBO and Max stuff where it's like, oh, this show's going to HBO. So it's like, no, I understand the confusion is the branding around it, but like it just means that it's gonna air on TV and it will air the same time as Max. I mean, that's how I watch House of Dragons and Game of Thrones, but it did because they would simulcast or not.
yeah,
okay, so is that what's happening with those?
Yeah.
I guess there's a couple shows. So like, I mean, for me, it didn't matter, right? If you're going to show something on HBO and not on Max, I'll just watch it on Hulu because that's where my HBO sub is at.
Mhm.
So they'll show it on HBO Live and then put it on Max like immediately
at
after.
the same
At the same time.
same time. So 8 p.m. or I guess 9 p.m. for you guys. House of the Dragon comes out. It's on Max right then.
It's on,
So,
yeah.
okay.
As soon as 9 p.m. hits on Sunday nights, House of Dragons is on the service. Yeah. I mean they've done better. Like in ages ago, it used to be like sometimes it would get hammered, so it would be stuttery. But like yeah, and so it's this. The difference is, and again, the branding is that this just means because HBO in itself is still mostly a movie channel. It still shows blockbuster movies and stuff like that. They don't have time. They don't show all of the HBO, the Max original shows, which is fair. I mean, you don't necessarily want like a Discovery show, some crappy reality TV show on HBO. This just meant like these shows were probably sold as part of Max packaging internationally, which is what they said. So probably Crave would get it, maybe Hulu or Stars in the UK or something like that. This just means that like, oh, we think we saw these shows and we think they're good enough that they can air on HBO every week. So the downside to that for some people, I guess it might change the schedule in a bit. It might have been like, oh, this would be a lot of streaming shows tend to drop midweek, so HBO tends to do Sundays, Game of
Sunday
Thrones,
night, yeah.
So maybe that's what it would be. But yeah, it would still be you get it the same exact time. It just means it's another avenue.
I'm thankful for that because, like this last Sunday, we were watching the finale, and we went into it was like 20 minutes into what House of Dragon would have been, but I just went to the Max app and started it from there. You know what I mean? Like it's fine. It works great, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Is there any other news you guys caught? Nothing really caught my eye.
I mean, I don't know if it's news because is it news? But who is Emio?
Oh yeah, that's news. That's cool. What the fuck?
I mean, it is news, but it isn't in the sense that we don't know anything. But yeah.
What are we talking about?
So Nintendo yesterday dropped a teaser on the social media accounts with just the question, "Who is EMIO?"
Basically, they teased like a horror game from them.
Yes, and that's all we gotten so far. So, of course, being as Nintendo, it's an M-rated or PG, a PEGI 18 or whatever, local game. And the fact that they teased, not only did they tease it, it was on all, like, it was Nintendo, Nintendo UK, Nintendo Japan. And it's just like a maybe, 10-second teaser of like a dude in a,
Looks like a paper bag.
a smiley paper bag with a very kind of horror gothic vibe, and that was all we got. So now it is like, what is this? Who is this? What's this game? There's internet detectives and stuff like that. Some people think it might be a project they're working on with Jumper Team, who I believe did the Silent Hill 2 remake.
They are doing the Silent Hill 2, yeah.
As far as I can tell, they are not the most beloved studio in the world. But it's just one of those things that's very unorthodoxy, not like Nintendo, to just have such a vague tease for a title. And they're known for such family-friendly affairs that people are just more intrigued by this horror adjacent game.
Yeah, it's not like, again, they pause that they've done things in this realm before, but yeah, it's just so rare. You're like, ooh, what are they up to? And I on this is that like the trailer in Australia gave a rating for the game, being like it's restricted rating or whatever their rating system is. And they said for violence, cruelty, domestic abuse, and suicidal themes. Like, so yeah, it's like a hard M game coming from them.
All right. I mean, that's fascinating. Did they give a date or
Again, all it is was that who is
the guy?
Lots of speculation, but yeah,
that's why I said it's news but not news, because it's something people are talking about, but like, they've not followed up with it. Is it going to be something they do once a week? I didn't know if it was like, oh, they're going to do it like every hour. So it's like one of those things that just kind of becomes intriguing because it's more mysterious than anything. And again, it's not for a company that tends to be shrouded in secrecy. They don't tend to be mysterious, if that makes sense. They are very upfront. Like, here's a new Mario game. Like, they might not
when
tell
they
you
announce
exactly,
something,
yeah. But this is nothing, and it's not like, like, maybe you can go through their IPs and like, oh, it might be, maybe it's Eternal Darkness too, who knows? But like, there's not a lot in their background where it's like, oh, it's a revival of this IP or something. So yeah.
Yeah. I did see something earlier in the week that I forgot to bring up. Embracer is shutting down Piranha Bytes. They are the developer behind the Risen games, which were kind of like first and third person RPGs. They also did Gothic and a recent RPG called Elix that had 2 games. They were acquired by Embracer in 2019, and as part of their purging, because they're made terrible purchases and don't have any money, they are shutting down yet another developer. So goodbye, Piranha Bytes.
Woohoo! Wait, no. I mean, boo.
No.
Okay, boo.
I think it's it for news. Tony, I logged into Xbox the other day.
Yes.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, I think this is news this week. The announcement of a new 3D Double Dragon game from Yoink.
Yes.
What?
A Double Dragon.
What?
So the old school 2D beat 'em up, side scroller beat 'em up. Yes, you are correct, Earl. That is news for this week. That is not. I don't know. I think we have to see it, right?
Well, we did see it. It looks graphically, it looks like they like the Street Fighter 5 and 6 style.
Yeah, which is fine.
What is it called?
Double Dragon Revive. Yeah, I could drop a trillion in the. But yeah, it was. I think it was teased like yesterday or two. It was teased sometime recently. Sorry, I'm foggy brain.
Sometime in the last 24 hours.
Yes, and then I think a teaser announcement trailer came out today, and it's very much. Again, it looks very much like somebody's like, that Street Fighter style really worked for them, so let's borrow that for our new game. Which, I mean, to be fair, works.
Okay, so I didn't realize that a trailer would come out, but this doesn't look awful. At least the static images I'm looking at.
No, but I'm very curious because again, it looks more like a fighting game.
Yeah.
Than it does like a beat 'em up.
It is in 3D, but it also seems like
It's like 3D models and like a 2D.
Yeah, like you're not moving on it. Very much like a fighting game, like you said, Earl. Like, you're moving on a straight line back and forth as opposed to around a 3D space. So more like a 3D game, but that plays like Double Dragon, which could be good. Some weird special powers that they have, though. I just want to know, can I pick up a baseball bat?
Right? Probably.
Is it,
I think you have to. It's not Double Dragon if you can't.
right. Somebody going to come and punch your girlfriend in the stomach and then just carry her off, and you have to go through 4 levels to rescue her. Yeah. So Double Dragon Revive, you said,
Yeah.
Earl? It's Tony.
Yes.
I logged into Xbox and I saw either you or I know your kids play under your profile, but somebody was playing Immortals of Aveum.
That was me. That was definitely me.
So how is Immortals of Aveum?
So
What? Wait, hold on. What is the title?
So a year ago, Jeff, you may remember EA announced a game that looked like Call of Duty, but magic with magic. Yes. That was kind of the talking point of it.
Do not remember.
Okay. So that came out in August. It was called Immortals of Avium.
Yes.
Okay. And Tony's playing it.
Yeah. It was on Game Pass, right?
Yes. It is now on Game Pass. Yes. So you can play it now and experience the wonder that is Immortals of Avium. I don't know that it's 10 out of 10, but it's like 7 out of 10. It's very entertaining. Cool. So you play as this guy who can use magic. Apparently everyone in this world can use magic, and like magic is quite similar to using guns for some reason. So it's the game gives you it starts you off with 3 different attack spells that have different effects. One is a ranged attack that is very similar to like a rifle. One, you switch to your that is your blue magic. You switch to your green magic, and it is very similar to like a submachine gun. Like you can shoot it very quickly, but again, very very similar to a gun. Or right. You could switch to your red magic, which is very very similar to a shotgun. I
assume that there's like a mana charge or like
so for those it's sort of there's this weird like ammo stuff. Like you can shoot those forever. There are also like larger spells you can cast that you have a charge of like 3, so you can cast 3 of them.
But they're grenades.
Yeah, sort of. Like one is like they're very like situation specific. There's one that is like an area effect grenade. There's one where if the enemies are like behind shields, you can use it's called Shatter, and it shatters the shield.
That's cool.
And there's more you can unlock, I'm assuming, as you go along. But yeah, it basically just takes like what you would expect from like maybe even like a monster-based shooter, because there are like boss battles against like large creatures or enemies that are much bigger. But it's definitely like a shooter. That's just replaced the shooting with magic. It's entertaining. It's fun. The story is good. It's level based, so you're like playing through levels as opposed to like an open world or whatever. Again, it's a very fun B-tier type game. I think the magic is kind of a missed opportunity. Like if you're doing I want to actually do magic. Like I want to do creative things on the there's really no creativity. It's literally just magic replacing guns. Which if you like shooting, like I like to play shooters. That doesn't bother me.
Right.
But it like if it wanted to be like a great game, and this is like the thing that makes me a little sad for this studio, which I can't remember if they're getting rid of them or they've downsized them or whatever happened to them. But I know the game didn't sell well, and it's a decent game. Like it's fun to play. But nobody bought this game. But I would recommend playing it. It's quite enjoyable. It does have like the first chapter of the game has one of the most like it's the chapter that like defines your character, defines their motivation for going forward. It's one of the more horrifying ones I've experienced. But given what happens to him to motivate him to do what he does later on,
Right.
Again, if you wanted to, I won't spoil it because again, it's free, it's easy to play, and I would recommend you give it a shot. But I was playing through this. I can't believe they did that to him. I felt so bad for him as a character. It was it was a lot. It was definitely a lot.
Yeah, I think I when they first announced it, it seemed like a cool idea. So
yeah,
I kind of want to take a look at it. Ascendant Studios, the developers behind them. I don't know. This report from PC Gamer says that they furloughed most of its staff back in April. EA is evidently diverting all net sales revenue to the studio. I guess like they published it, but it was published under one of their banners or whatever.
Yeah,
because they don't own Ascendant Studios, so I guess EA is trying to like prop them up by sending all the money there. That was a news story in May, but it doesn't sound like it's good for good for them.
Yeah, I feel bad for them because again, it's like those. It's the B tier game that has a really hard time surviving these days.
And it hit at such a shitty time too. I think it launched it either launched like a week after or like just days after Baldur's Gate 3 hit PC.
Yep. That was not good timing.
And like in August, so it's also going up against another EA game with Madden. And then shortly after that was Starfield and then Baldur's Gate 3 on consoles. So like, did not hit a good window. It's a shame.
I mean, realistically, if they had priced it better, like if they hadn't launched it as like a full title, like if they'd been like, here's a nice $20-$30 experience or whatever, it might have sold better. Like more people might have played it, and it got more like word of mouth.
Yeah,
I think. Which is something I think a lot of these studios or these publishers forget nowadays. It's like if you price games, I look to Ubisoft with like them bargain pricing some of these like Assassin's Creed and Prince of Persia, like to put them in a place where people would try them as like a more impulse purchase because $70 is a lot for a game, and you don't want to like lock out your entire customer base by picking a price point where it's too high for them to just buy it to try it.
Yeah, and like even at $50, that's a lot, but more like there's more of a chance that somebody's gonna jump at it. I think you're right, Tony, like 20 or 30. And I think people forget that what was it, 2K Sports? I think it was 2K5. They released $20.
Yeah, those games were like way cheaper than their competitors.
Yeah, and like that was why it was successful, because otherwise like Madden was the game in town. They've released a kick-ass football game for $20 and we're like, bring it, and people bought it. Yeah, I think variable pricing should be way more used.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something we talk about all the time. The problem is variable pricing goes one way, which is like, oh, we can make our game more expensive. But yes, it should be used like, oh, maybe this is not going to be a great game. Or like, yes, I mean, if it was a more competitive market to undercut the competitors, because I mean, you mentioned Madden, and then what Madden did was like, we're just going to buy rights from the NFL so that nobody else can make football games.
And hasn't that worked out well for everyone?
Yep.
Well, everyone that is named the NFL.
Yeah.
Because they get an exorbitant fee from EA every few years, and they don't have to do it. They don't have to do any extra work. Earl, you play anything this week?
Nothing new. More Paper Mario, more Teatro, another Picross game. I downloaded something. I tried it for like 20 minutes, but I wanted to put more time into it. I think I was telling you folks about this last week. Megaton, I forget the name of it, but I need to put more time into it. Right now, I didn't like the time I put in, but I paid $30. I've got to figure out more time to see if I actually do come around to it. But first impressions were not great, so we'll see.
Playing more Hunters.
I have. Again, still enjoyable, still really fun. I think one of the benefits, like we said, is just because the matches are so quick that you don't necessarily care that it's not the most in depth or because your special meter fills up really quickly, for example.
Yeah, you get to use it at least once every match, sometimes twice.
I was about to say because especially if you run and get like the purple stuff right away, and you do a lot of damage. I've done matches where I've had it 2 or 3 times in the span of that 5 minutes, just because. Like again, also if you die, and
Yes.
again, I'm not really branched out too far from other characters, but my guy, because again, he's supposed to be a tank, he's supposed to be in the front, but like a lot of people who don't. They just kind of go after points, like like they capture. I'm like, I just hang nearby, just shoot them. By the time they figure out where I'm coming from, my gun's gonna eat through you because it has a ton of ammo and it has decent range. So,
and you have a shield.
Yes,
basically double up your hit points.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, somebody else is nearby, or like I think one of the Jedi's can block shots, but I mean, you're blocking the shots. Again, at some point, it's just going to penetrate through your lightsaber, or somebody else is going to come up behind you. So,
yep,
it's a broken character so far. I've not really found many counters to it. So,
I think if you run up against a coordinated team, they're really good at putting hits on you from the front and then coming around behind you because you don't have a shield there.
Which should be the strategy. Like I said, I'm the tank. I should be in the front. I should be with my team, and I should be the one. But a lot of times, my team just do their thing, and I'm like, I'm just gonna. Because it's where's the old adage? Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, and I think that happens a lot in these games where people kind of. I don't know about mobile. I assume the same with mobile because this is a Switch game. There's not a ton of communication. There's no mics.
No.
So it's a lot of people just kind of thrown on the honor system. Where like Overwatch, for example, is a very communicative heavy game, and that tends to be like you get teams sometimes where it's just they will get stuff knocked down. You have a sniper covering the flank, then you have like sentries covering their back, and all this other stuff. So it's like one of those things where you don't necessarily get that here because there isn't as much communication and much smaller maps.
So I unlocked there's 4 game modes. There's basically a team deathmatch. Then there's like a 3-point like control. Like so you go and if you hold 2 of the points, you score points.
Yeah, territories.
And then a third one is basically King of the Hill, and then the fourth one it's basically oddball. You grab a droid, and then as long as you have the droid, you score points. So it's they're all just very standard gameplay modes from other shooters, but they're generally fun.
Listen, sometimes they're not charging me any money. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's a model that works. You're not charging me. You're not being aggressive. Like you need to buy the battle pass. You need to buy the battle pass. I'm all for it.
Yeah, and like I'm consistently getting enough experience that I'm like unlocking stuff or getting closer to unlocking the next hero. I don't want to use those heroes, but like it's fun to like unlock stuff. It's fun to fill meters. So
yeah, I mean it's why I'm also highly addicted to Overwatch. Not Overwatch, Fortnite.
Yeah. You should have me as a friend there. So I need to find 3 people to play it so that I can unlock that mission. There's like a weekly. It's just like Fortnite, like where there's weekly challenges.
Yeah.
And one of them is have 3 friends. I know 2 people that play it.
Is that the actual challenge is to have 3 friends? Or,
Yeah, there's like a challenge for like have 3 friends or add 3 friends.
okay.
There's like challenges for like playing in a party, and I'm like, that's probably never gonna happen.
Earl's like, yeah, I'll pretend to be your friend. Fine.
I was gonna say we could get a party. We got 4 people here.
Well, I thought like I am friends with Earl on Switch, so I thought I would
And
just
this is the
check,
problem here.
and it was like, but they make you create a new account with that, so I don't know what you signed up there. And when I searched, I couldn't find you. Anyway, Jeff, you play anything this past week? I know you did, but
Yeah, I've actually I've been playing like quite a few things. I think I should probably like touch on the one game that's actually new, which is Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, I think is the name of it. I think. The names for their the titles for their games have become like increasingly similar and just changing one word out.
It is the new game. It's a Switch game, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the new one.
I think maybe it's not on other platforms yet. I'm sure it will be at some point. But anyways, it's like the first actual new Monkey Ball game in a long, long time. Like they've put out Monkey Ball game in recent years that are basically like a re-release of the Wii game, a compilation of the games that everyone loves, some new, and it's actually really good. Like the the main part of the Monkey Ball games, like the obstacle courses, mazes, whatever you want to call them, like we try to get to point A to point B to go through the goal. The levels on this one are pretty damn creative, and just like there's like a level of polish to it that just it's like, oh, this is something new. Like this is better. Like even compared to some of the levels in the like original Monkey Ball games are like very much like hopefully you get lucky and bounce the right way through the goal.
Right.
And here, very creative. Like I'm not him, but I'm a decent way in, and there's some really cool fucking levels. Like, and just to give an example, there's one level. It's just kind of straight, like rectangle. Like it's like a flat surface, go straight forward, like a path to go down. But instead of the goal being at the end of that path, the goal is in the air, and it's going up and down the path. And there's a bunch of ramps that you have to like fly off of to like hopefully catch the goal as it's passing that ramp. And
that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. It's just like an example, like where you're like, oh, they have, like really have some creativity with what they're doing here. And that kind of also plays into the other like new thing about this one, which is like you could do spin dash, like picture Sonic.
Yeah.
Like the new original Monkey Ball game they did, it was like jumping was the thing you could do. Here it's spin dash, and it plays into levels in clever ways, including here. You gotta go up off of ramps. Well, you gotta use the spin dash to go flying off the ramp. So it's weird because like Monkey Ball, I feel like that type of game was like a bigger deal out back on the GameCube originally. Whereas now it's like I feel like the people who like Monkey Ball are people who like liked it back then. Which, by the way, am I the only person that plays this game? This a lot.
I played Monkey Ball back on the GameCube, and I think I tried one of the later ones. But like, to your point, I do think it was I mean, they were essentially arcade games. And the more they tried to expand on it, the more complicated and less fun they became.
I think it was just like it was more impressive to get that game back on the GameCube. Like, oh, you could play an arcade style game, and now it's just like, even to me, who I think this game is very good, I will play it for like a very short period of time and be like, all right, I'm going back to Elden Ring or whatever. Like, whatever bigger game I'm playing. Like, I don't sit down for Monkey Ball and play it for 2-3 hours. Like, that's just not happening.
It's your Star Wars hunters.
But it is like back in the day, I would have. All right. The other thing about it, back in the day, like besides me, like I always loved the single player part of it, like the going through, like trying to reach the goal, like But back in the day, a lot of the reason college friends loved it is because they had the mini games like bowling, monkey target, monkey golf, right? And in this new one that has kind of like all gone, like there's still multiplayer. In fact, you could play the main campaign multiplayer with someone else, and that's actually like kind of really cool because like you could be going towards the goal, and your friend or your wife or your partner or whatever, like, they could be going towards like getting the secret bananas and shit like that. Really cool, right? It's just a split screen. You can do it at the same time. I think you can play it on.
You play it online too. That's cool.
Yeah. But then there is the multiplayer, like the mini games, and they kind of like threw from fans of the series were like every fan of the series loves Monkey Target. Earl, you remember Monkey Target? We go flying off the ramp and try to like land on something in the water. Yeah, like a target.
Terrible at it, but
I always really like, I would just like lose air under my wings and just crash like hundreds of feet before the target. But anyways, like they like did away with all that, so like you're not getting ball and monkey target, and it's just a bunch of mini games that, in my opinion, like at least the best one of them feels inspired by Fall Guys, where it's like, let's throw a bunch of balls on the stage and get to the end like the most. It's like a little ramp. I think you could like, who could get to the end the most times or something like that. That was like one of the more compelling ones. Then there's like kind of a rip off of Mario Kart, but just a half-assed like one level thing. And yeah, like the online multiplayer is probably dead already. But as far as the core like premise of these games, like the single player, I think it's really good in this one, and it would be fun to play with someone else. I actually did try it a little bit with my wife. It's a good game. Games like it would never be my like main game that I'm playing that month. It's always going to be like, I'll pass a couple levels and then I'm going to go play the playing.
Which I think it's always good to have like that palate cleanser or change of pace game off on the side. Because like there's only so much.
It's a hard sell to like tell someone go buy this game that you're gonna like play a level or two here or there. Like it's not gonna fill your gaming void on its own, unfortunately.
Right. So you're gonna need it's a secondary game. You're gonna need something else to go along with it.
I believe. Back in the day, I still remember I remember playing Super Monkey Ball 1 with friends and just loving it. We fucking loved it. And then Super Monkey Ball 2 came out like a year later, maybe 2 at most. And being so hyped and excited for it, and then playing a shit out of that. And it's just like, that's just a time that's gone now. Like, we're past that. And I guess like people that love the series could revisit, like, this is a good point to revisit it at. But yeah, it's hard to imagine people like really sinking hundreds of hours in this or whatever.
But do they have to?
No, but it's just it just feels like, try to emphasize something that's hard to express. It just feels different now. What else have I played?
You play a little bit of Alone in the Dark.
I have, and that's a semi-new game. That's from this year. I think, Chris, you played through all that. I remember you telling us you liked it. I think
I did.
Right?
I did like it. Yeah,
I like it too. It is. If people do not remember, this was like, that new version of Alone in the Dark with David Harbour and I think Jodie Comer.
Jodie Comer,
yeah, and it got like pretty middling reviews, but
they weren't great.
All right, so I've played through a good portion of this. I've played through probably at least 3 hours of it, right?
Okay.
And survival horror games are not super long, right? So like I have an idea of what this game is. And this is like super traditional classic survival horror game. Like I think if you like this genre, this is definitely a game worth checking out. Like it's not like groundbreaking anything in any way, I don't think. But like it's also not terrible. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's classic survival horror. Like,
It's classic survival horror. But
looks good.
yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's survival horror, but with like modern graphics, voice acting, like real actors are doing it, right? Like, but it is the class. There's a thing in the garden, and you have to find like a hose piece to connect a hose and fill up a water, like a well in the garden, and the well will, something will rise up and you get the item, and that's like a key that gets you to the next door. It is exactly like if that's your jam.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's totally like so far, anyways. It's totally filling that for me. Again, like nothing like standing out, like except it looks better than many games in the genre do because they're older. But I don't see what's bad about it. Like I don't understand like what the mixed reaction was.
I don't know because I enjoyed
like if you it nails
the
genre.
And I like Resident Evil, but a lot of the more recent Resident Evils have gotten away from like the weird puzzle solving.
They'll have sections I think the last one had like a section where you like went into a house and you were doing that traditional stuff.
Yeah.
Or trying to find a key for the door. Yeah, and the puzzles.
But like there's so much more to that here, and like combat is like there is combat, but it's less the focus.
Yeah. There's at least so far for me, there's been very few encounters. I will say that those encounters don't feel as good.
Absolutely not.
Not that Resident Evil feels good. Like encounters are like you're hanging on for dear life. It's the same here, but I just feel like the combat does not feel quite as good here. I do feel like some of the puzzles too. I was like, I just did this puzzle with a what do they call them, like a grandfather clock or whatever, like a.
Yeah, some of them are wildly like obtuse. Like this doesn't make any sense.
Like, what are you? I had to look it up, and I was like, man, I don't know how you were supposed to like figure that. But that's kind of how the genre has always been. Like, it's not.
Is that the one where you're like setting it based on like some notes you found or something?
Yeah, which
neat.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like, I will figure that out. Like, you'll come to a safe, and you're like, oh, I have to know the code. You look through your notes. There's a note where someone said the code, right?
Right.
But this was like, it was a little more like, what? Like, how would I think to figure that out? Okay. But that, again, that's kind of in the genre. I feel like if you're a survival horror fan, this is like a modern version of the old shit that you like. And I bought it on sale for $45 on Xbox. I can't tell you because I'm not done with it yet. But like, if I think that's a good value or not. All I can tell you is that if you're a fan of that genre, this is definitely worth checking out. It's pretty fucking cool so far.
Agreed. I think you also said you bought the digital version, and I probably would too, because I'll pay a premium to not have to get a disc. But the disc version was cheaper, I believe, this week too.
Yeah, the disc version is like $30 on Amazon. I don't know if it still is at the time of this recording, but like 2 days ago it was.
Yeah. But
I was like, I just hate it. Honestly, if I get a game on a disc at this point, it makes me less likely to replay it or anything like that because I just it's just I don't like it anymore. I want everything to be digital and at my fingertips constantly without me having to get up, swap discs out, anything like that. I'm trying to think. What else? You
finished Elden Ring yet?
Yes. That's the other thing I guess I could touch on. finished Elden Ring DLC, and I know I went on about it like a lot 2 weeks ago, and none of my opinion has really changed having beaten it. It is really cool level design and really cool, like amazing looking, art. And I just don't like I'm sorry, I don't think the bosses are good or fun to they're bosses for people who are really, really good at Elden Ring, and to challenge them and push them and make them like tear their hair out before beating it. And it's just like, I'm not that. And the bosses sucked, and it was a slog to get through. And there's this balance that you have to strike with, where like, yeah, you want the bosses to feel challenging, and like, yeah, maybe I have to fight a boss 20 times before I beat it or whatever. But for it to feel fun and fair, and like these bosses, like, it's just like, dude, as soon as you walk into the room, they're like pushing you back up against the fog gate, like, oh Jesus, bam, 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 I'm dead. Okay, that wasn't fun. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
I watched somebody walk through the gate and then like immediately get hit with a ranged attack that killed them instantly. Like,
I saw someone like,
how would you know that?
I saw someone trying to go through the gate. Like their friends had already gone through. Like their friends had gone through, and they were fucking ranged attack and went through the gate into the fucking room before and killed them. I'm just like, all right,
that's cheap. That's some cheap bullshit.
Yeah, and that's just like insane. Like it I don't know. Like, it's fun to me. Like, to me, the most useful and fun thing about like the DLC was like you do get a ton of new like weapons and like armor and like cool shit like that like is, if you go back into the main game, you could use that shit. Obviously, that's the kind of the like that alone is worth getting it for. But it is like, I personally don't love the DLC, and like would never recommend it to like. I would never be like, you gotta get the complete edition of Elden Ring. I would probably tell most people like, yeah, just get the base game. That's the masterpiece. This is like for freaks that want to be like humiliated over and over. Again, there's some things I really like love about the DLC, but like I'm not on board with saying it's great or as good as the base game. In fact, in my opinion, it's just not as good as the base game. It's just not. Base game is just a million times better. But
all right,
yeah, I'm done with that. I'm actually still playing Elden Ring, but like I don't think there's anything more for me to add. I'm playing through with my new character, and I'm going into the DLC to see how it feels with a character who's on New Game instead of New Game Plus, right?
Right.
But I doubt I'll have much to add to this in the future. I'll still be playing it. Again, this DLC got me to play this game again, and probably for a couple months, but I don't think I have much to add to the hours I've already talked about it.
Fair enough. Tony, you play anything else besides Immortals of Aveum?
I don't think I played anything that I hadn't discussed a lot already.
I know I talked a lot about Dragon's Dogma last week, and I also said I don't think I'm gonna play much more. And then I proceeded to play about 5 more hours and beat the game, like beat the end game piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like the end game at all.
Not worth doing that.
It's just kind of like, so as I said, like, and Jeffy, unfortunately, like Tony was like, "Hey, are we recording?" Like 5 minutes before, I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess we are." And so we just recorded. But yeah, so like beat the game, and beating the final boss easy. Like I hit that at 47. Had to dismiss your pawn and Tony's pawn.
How dare you?
Bring in some new pawns that weren't getting like one hit killed by the final boss. But this new game area. You come in, you have to go find your pawn, and then you're given a quest. And like, I don't know, the entire game has been just kind of dick around, go explore and shit. And the world's changed. All the water's gone, so now there's like these deep caverns and canyons where the oceans used to be and the rivers. And so like I go and do that, and really what you're supposed to do is immediately beeline to the quest marker and start the quest, because there's a timer going on in the background, and every time you rest, which you probably do a lot, because if you get hurt, you lose parts of your health bar, and you don't get that back unless you fully rest. Well, resting in the end game pushes the calendar forward, and this like ooze, this like fog from the outside is creeping in, and if it overtakes a settlement that you are supposed to be evacuating, which you find out from the main quest, you'll lose that settlement. Like it's just gone, and you can't rescue the people there. You can't fight the boss for that area. I don't think it locks you out completely, but if you don't do everything, if you don't rescue the people in the 12 days that there are, so 12 rests, it will basically throw you right into the end game. And if that you won't get, and then you won't get the proper ending. I did end up getting the proper ending. Saving everybody is pretty easy. You just go to the town, and it's quest where you talk to people. And they also give you fairy stones. They give you a handful of fairy stones, but they also open up port crystals that were hidden in all these other areas that don't have them. So like there's one in Vernworth, which is the main town. There's one.
I found one in my whole playthrough. Yeah.
Which They're is rare. Probably the one in the main city, right? Like that first main city.
Well, I had 2 total, so yeah,
okay.
It was Vernworth and whatever the fuck.
The other big city, or
yeah.
Like I had to lay one down there, like
so, I laid one down like right outside, kind of. There's like kind of 3 directions you can go from there.
Yeah,
I put it like right at that cross section.
So like they give you sub though, or like, hey, do you want to travel to the Arbor, which is where the elves live? Do you want to travel back to the volcanic island? So these are all settlements. You're supposed to go and start a mission, basically talk to a couple people, and then they go talk to some other people. Then they go, okay, go back and talk to the original person. And they're like, okay, we'll evacuate. And like the town just empties out. And then you can fight the boss for that area, which is one of 2 different dragons. There's one with kind of like these spiky things on them. Like if you fought the dragon in Bakbatal, you have to like climb to the top of this thing, and the dragon has like these pus-filled nodules on it that if you shoot they explode. Like there's like a one in the end game that is kind of like that, but it's like these glowy bits.
So I got a few of those on myself as well.
Yeah, standard Capcom kind of boss encounter. Or there's a dragon that's like a snake, and you shoot the back. Like there's glowy bits on the back, and you shoot or attack those bits. And as you pull each section, like that part of it like goes black and dies off until you get to the end. So each of the sections has one of them that you have to fight.
Yeah, I remember that.
And after you beat all of them, then it opens up the final area. They're like, hey, you saved everybody. Good for you. You have nothing left to do in this world. You should close it out. And you go to the final area, you pull out the sword or whatever, and it brings you to a final encounter where the credits are playing, and you just climb on a dragon until you get like over its heart and then attack it. That's it.
Do you get New Game Plus, or no?
So you can get New Game Plus immediately from.
Before that.
Yeah, so like if you just beat the regular game, you can get New Game Plus. Like because to unlock the end game stuff, you have to go talk to a character during the credits of the original boss battle. So like you beat the first boss in the main game, and then you're in a crowning ceremony, and instead of sitting on the throne, which is what it wants you to do, you're supposed to go talk to this glowy blue guy. And if you talk to him multiple times, it'll unlock the...
Man, you are starting to sound like an Elden Ring player. This is Elden Ring shit.
It's nutso, like, because otherwise you'd be like, oh, I beat the game, but there's all these achievements for doing stuff in the end game. And I would not have known if I hadn't, like, looked it up on the internet or whatever and watched a video on how to do it. Yeah, it's all really goofy and it's not worthwhile, I don't think. You do get New Game Plus. You can jump into, you have to do that whole prison section again where, you have to, like, move the rocks and then fight the Gorgon that comes in and then make the escape out of the prison and jump off. And then once you get there, then it's like, once you get to that first camp encounter, and you get your chest, all your items are in there. You can equip them all. You can change your vocations, which are already all leveled up whatever you've leveled up. And you find out, like, I think I finished the game at level 53. It was like, and you're now level 53. So same with your pawn. But it's not like New Game Plus, I guess. And I don't know, like, I started playing it just to, like, see, and all the enemies in that first area were just going down with one hit. And I brought your pawn and Tony's pawn back in, and they were killing things again, like, immediately.
Yeah.
So it's not like the game is harder. It's just you can do it again, I guess, if you want.
Right.
I think some of the bosses and shit will probably... At least that's how Elden Ring is. Like, yeah, you can still kind of plow through shit because you're so powerful. But, like, when there's points you'll hit, you'll be like, oh shit, you'll be humbled again. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
Yeah, I didn't dig too far into it. It was just like, all right, well, I can bring Amelia and Sid back, and they can kill things with me. And there are stuff that, like, you can accidentally lock yourself out of quests because they're timed. So, like, a quest marker may pop up, or you'll get a quest, but if you don't follow through with it quick enough, like, you'll get an alert that says, like, hey, that's not available anymore. Like, I got this quest for the Phantom Ox Cart, but I didn't do it, and then I got an alert saying that, like, that quest is no longer available, and nobody's seen the Phantom Ox Cart in weeks now. So I guess, like, you could go and do those quests because they'd reopen again. Anyway, I don't recommend doing the endgame shit in Dragon's Dogma 2. It's not worthwhile to me. There is a cool vocation, though, called Warfare that you can get towards the end of the game, and that vocation levels up every other vocation. So you just equip that one. It allows you to do whatever you want. So if you want to be an archer or a mage, you can equip those skills and that equipment, and you can switch at will with the touch of a button. And it also levels up all the other vocations, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's all I've been playing, though. Yeah, so
you guys want to hear the one game that's me away from Elden Ring?
What's that?
Diablo 4, and I won't go into it because this is an established game. I made a rogue, and I've never played rogue.
They're fun.
Yeah, it is. There are a few, like, different moves that feel too close to me, like they're too much of the same move where you can throw, like, a giant spear. Chris, I don't know if you remember this. It's fucking like, whoosh, and it, like, goes through every enemy right in front.
Yeah,
on
the
screen. It's like, that feels so good. Yeah, it's kind of pulling me away from Elden Ring. Like, I know, I think on this show, I'm in the minority in that, like, nobody likes it, but I really liked Diablo 4, and going back to it now, I'm like, yeah, I still like it.
Diablo 4.
Thank you, girl.
I don't dislike it. I like. It's not my favorite, but I finished it. I liked it.
It does what it needs to do.
I think it is my.
I don't have.
Yeah.
I think it's
What
one
was
of
that,
those.
Earl?
I think it's one of those genres of games where I probably just don't have expectations for. I play it with friends. We kill a bunch of stuff. I get a
Yeah.
skill tree. I get a like. Yeah, I don't. Like I know people. I know people go in depth with it, and I'm like, yeah. I get new stuff. Green numbers go up. Red numbers get sold or junked or whatever. I'm like,
I think that was my problem with it.
Go
Was that like the green numbers weren't going up enough? Like I would get stuff, but it mostly junk. Like it was junking almost everything. I wasn't consistently getting equipment.
That was
from
my
drops
problem.
that were making
That was
me
my
better.
problem with the end game. Like after, like post campaign, right? Once I was post campaign, I was getting nothing better, nothing at all. So far on this playthrough, obviously I'm getting like everything I'm getting is better, but I'm in the first 2 hours of the game.
But they also changed it, right? They changed.
Well, that's the other thing. It is the season of loot, or something like that. It's it's literally called like the season of loot.
I think it's called Loot Reborn.
Yeah, so it's and that's, I think it goes through August or something like. There's a few months left to it, so I will get through like this campaign with it. So maybe that's it. But like, if this season is just making the loot better, like do that all the time, because the fuck. Yeah, I don't know. I again, I really like the game when I like it. It is like fun to try this new class out. I forgot there's something else. Oh, here's the thing, and I don't know if this is like some update that they did or it was always like this. Like if it's just a function of having beaten the campaign once. But when I made a new character, like there were less things to get done. Like dude, like right away, I had my horse. Which you don't get the horse until like Act 4 or some shit in the fucking like the first time you're playing that game.
But I thought once you got the horse in general.
Like, yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So it's always been like that. Like that's okay. So that's not like an update, but it is weird to play a new character and like start from scratch, but also not start from scratch because like you get that. Any of the statues of
Lilith.
Statues of Lilith are already found and applied to you. So it's like there's a little less joy in playing through the campaign again because it's just like it's giving you less like it's giving you less like advancements like like oh you got this. It's like you have it, but I'm having fun. Like again, it is really pulling me away from Elden.
It is nice that they have that where there are certain kind of permanent upgrades that work. Because I think one of the upgrades or some of them is like if you complete certain quests, it's like you can carry X number of vials of health, and that's
I got all of them.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Like, and my wife right away she saw me playing. She's like, "How the fuck do you have 9 healths already?" I'm like, "They gave you all this shit." Like. And again, I was like wondering because I hadn't played it so long. I was like, "Is this an update they did to make it easier, or if it was always that way? Like once you beat the campaign, they give you all these like cool things that made the campaign more fun." I don't know. To me, it's kind of a loss because like I like finding the Lilith statues in that like.
So that stuff was always account wide. So anything you find on one character, it travels over to another. Also, any what are those points you get? Like that you can apply them after you reach like a certain level. Like they all apply too. So any of the bonuses that you buy with those points.
Oh, like you think it would be a rewards? Like no, maybe it's not those.
I can't think of what the term is, but there's part of your skill tree, but it's like another tab over any of those points that you get they go across the board. So it's like 0.03 addition to attack. If you have that on one of your characters, it applies to all of them.
I mean, it's I can see going both ways on it, and that's why I wish they would give you the option, like, hey, do you want this to be a completely fresh character?
Well,
Like
that's what I was wondering.
completely fresh, you know?
I was wondering, and I don't know. Is that what hardcore is, or no? Because I know hardcore is like if they die, they're dead permanently. But
That's what hardcore is. It's
I didn't know if it was also like you start from the ground floor as well.
I don't know.
I've never run a hardcore.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it personally. I just feel like that would be no.
I remember Fozzie.
He was in that.
And he had like a level 99 Diablo 2 hardcore character that got fucked up because his connection got lost.
Man.
Yeah, it
R.I.P.
sucks.
He actually staged his own little mini funeral.
Man. I could never do it. I could never do hardcore. That's just too crazy. Like, even if you put the game on easy, I would be like, I don't know. Maybe I'd mess up at some point. Like, I don't want to lose like 30 hours of playing this. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the that expansion though.
I'm getting it. I'm definitely get it.
I think that's what's that, November?
October 8th.
Okay.
It's the next thing I'm looking forward to be honest. I think.
Oh my god. Really?
Well, what's coming?
So many things coming out. So many games.
What's the next thing I would play?
I think my list is very different.
Oh, actually, I have a few actually coming very soon. We'll talk about it. Maybe at the end of the show. Like, there's stuff coming out.
Yeah, Tony, you your list maybe not the same as Jeff's.
Jeff, are you interested in Songs of Steel Hispania? Probably not.
Jeff, have you heard of Songs of Steel Hispania?
What about Renaissance Kingdom Wars?
Again, I think you're just making this stuff up as you go.
Yeah, it's like are you playing like educational games for kids in schools?
Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. That is actually a game you might want to play.
Renaissance Kingdom Wars is a legitimate game name, guys.
Yes. Star Wars Outlaws. That's coming out way before that.
Yeah. No. You're right.
It's August 30th. I'm hyped for that one.
I gotta look into it. I haven't honestly not watched the like long previews or anything of that, so I gotta see, but maybe.
So Jeff, we briefly talked about this last week. I think Earl and I both said Balatro. Tony, I'm drawing a blank on what you had as your
Helldivers 2.
Helldivers 2. So what is halfway through the year? What is your current game of the year? If we were to do that today,
current game of the year.
Yeah.
You said Balatro?
Yeah, both me and Earl.
Oh yeah, it's mine as well.
There we go. So, Tony.
Probably should play that, huh?
Maybe you should play it.
Dude, it's a no-brainer, dude. Like, it's poker. You're gonna love it, dude.
I hate poker. Terrible game.
You're gonna like. I think it maybe speaks to weak competition, but like, it just is. It's like, it's like when I played Splendor for the first time, where I was like, "Oh, well, this is like a new game that's gonna endure forever." Like people are gonna. That's how I felt about Balatro playing it. I was just like, "Yeah, this is such a fun spin on poker. Like no one's gonna forget this. Like that's gonna be released on every system going forward forever, like Pac-Man." So yeah, highly recommend, dude.
It seems to be doing really well. So I didn't realize it was on Xbox, but is that where you're playing it at, Jeff? Or are you playing it on Switch? Or
oh yeah, Switch.
Switch, yeah.
Is it on Xbox?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up! I thought it was Switch only.
It has come out on Xbox.
What? Oh man!
Evidently,
here I go spending more money for no reason.
Evidently, came out pretty early on too. Said True Achievements has it as a release date of 20th of February 2024. So Just been sitting there all this
Is that
time.
the
with
same
no
as the? Is it the
advertisement.
same as the Switch?
I think it is. I think it's the same as
I
when
think
it came out on everything else.
maybe he just played it on Switch, and I just assumed it. I don't know. For whatever reason I thought it was a Switch exclusive. But you know what? It is like perfect for Switch, dude. It is. You could play watching TV like easily. It's so perfect for Switch. So
What game
I
we're
would
talking
almost
about?
recommend it for that.
Quattro.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it was on everything, but yeah. Again, I got it on this because again, it's a great. Not to say that I would ever do this, but like you're working from home and it's a show day. It's very nice to just kind of have the Twitch in your app and play games. Again, not saying that I would ever, but heard.
Never.
I,
What's good about it is like because it's it's hand based, so like you play hand, you get to put the Switch down for a minute and like do
Yeah,
some work.
take a hit off the bowl. Fucking what?
Right. It's like,
yeah. And again, a very minor thing because it doesn't matter. But also, I do like that it's also if you play handheld, it is touch based as well, so it's
yeah.
easier to just do stuff like that. Though, just to give you the heads up, Jeff, because apparently Chris didn't know this last week, is you can rearrange the cards and the
Oh,
Joker.
that's how I won. Yeah, you gotta like
Yeah,
you'd be like you put the plus before times, right?
yeah,
Order of operations. Yeah. I didn't realize that was how it was
I didn't either.
calculating, and
My friend
Earl told me.
My friend came over one weekend and he went into detail, like he was like drawing charts and graphs for me on the fucking wall. He's like, "Well, it's plus." You put the plus on the left. You want to put all the times multipliers on the end. I was like, I always thought like it didn't matter the order. He's like, no, it definitely matters the order.
it does because
Okay.
yeah, plus 2 and times 2 are slightly different because if you just do plus 2 at the end, like if it's 1 times 2 is gonna be 2. That's gonna be okay. That's a terrible example. Let's go with 2. If you add, if it's that's gonna be 6. Where if you do it plus 2 then times 2, that's gonna be 8. And just that's only two difference that adds up over time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Thinking about it, it does make sense, but like you just kind of assume the game will like do that kind of shit for you, but it's like no, it goes left to right, so you have to think about what your hand is left to right up top.
Because it might because I guess the logic is depending on the Joker. The game might think you because let's say you have a Joker, and this comes into play at some point. Let's say you have a Joker that gives you plus, but it's a polychrome Joker. You don't it does give you a multiplier, but it also gives you a plus. Where would you put that first? I mean, I get you kind of want it in the middle, so it gives you because I think it gives you the card first and then the card type. I forget the order of that. But yeah, stuff like that. Where again, like yesterday, I playing after work hours. I just had a hand that was all flushes. I can make flushes out of 4 cards, and then I lucked in like the first 2 jokers I got was like, any flush you get plus I don't plus 4 multiplier. Any flush you get plus 50 chips. And then I got a card that's like any hand you play that is like 4 cards, you get a 1.5 multiplier. Then I just got so then I just rolled the dice on a bunch of spectral cards where like, oh, 1 in 4 chance of turning your Joker into something to do that. So I got through I think anti 11 with that. But then that thing just jumps so much, it's insane. Where I was I was able to clear like 2 million, and then it's like, yes, now you need to clear 7. Now you need to clear 7 million. I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. At best, my hands are put in maybe 500,000, and I'm not gonna do that in 5 hands. I was just like, I'm gonna play this, but it was a good hand, a good run. So yeah, again, a really charming game.
I mean, again, I think it is a game that is new that will live forever, get re-released on everything forever going forward. And I think it's great. Like, I think Tony will agree with us when he plays it. It's kind of crazy that, so like, wait, both Chris and Earl think that Blatcher's game of the year so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. But the thing is, like, I don't know, what would be number 2 to you? Like, because, like, I think it's partially a function of it being, like, kind of a weak year.
Sure. I could tell you. Bring up my list. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. It's my number
Prince of
2.
Persia. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Earl.
Again, I think I would need to play more games to because again, ideally, right now my second one, the one I played the most time with, would be Paper Mario, but I wouldn't consider that a year contender yet. I think Prince of Persia, if I put more time into it, would be up there.
You
Yeah,
could be like me. Game drove me mad.
I mean, yeah, we will see.
I'm telling you, Chris probably won't agree with you. There's things that are like really tough in that, and it's annoying. Like I hate it.
Oh, there's annoying aspects to it, but I enjoyed playing it.
I totally get it. It's a super quality game. Like it's
no, I know what my second one is right now. It'd be Star Wars Hunters.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun game.
I have not tried that yet. That's on everything, I'm assuming.
No,
Just
it's on Switch and
Switch.
mobile.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's so weird too. Like that should be a game that should be on everything, but
I think because it is so. I think because the Switch is portable but yeah, there's no reason it shouldn't be on everything. But yeah, it's maybe they just think the audience, ironically, that maybe they think the audience is on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC are probably too hardcore for that.
it's kind of just like the perfectly goofy 3D shooter because like third person shooter because like it works. The Star Warsness is so light, but it's that 5-minute gameplay.
Yeah,
like you have a 5-minute clock and you can just sit down and 5 minutes later game's over.
Very simple loop. Yeah.
Tony, what was your number 2?
Dragon's Dogma 2 right now.
Yeah.
That will not survive the rest of the year.
No.
There's no way.
It's turned into a pretty well situated back half of the year. So,
there's
Jeff,
Zelda.
What would you be your number? Your number
Oh,
2.
my number 2. Animal Well.
Okay.
I know I've talked about that much on here because I stopped playing it for the reason I said, which is like it was so perfect. Like the 3 hours or so I played of it was so perfect. I didn't want to like mar it in any way. But at that, I will go back to Animal Well at some point. But yeah, like Animal Well is really special if you. I don't know if you like games that are just about like exploration, rise, and in that Metroidvania genre, like yeah, it's really fucking awesome. And I don't know. Again, I think the reason I stopped is I was just like, just leave it at that. That was really fun what you played so far, which is such a weird thing. Cause would you want to see what the rest of it is? Which one day I will.
You're like, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't see a lot in the next couple of weeks, but I think once August hits, things start heating up a bit.
I may or may not get a game next week. We'll see how I'm feeling. It's not a new game, but Ninja Turtles game from Apple Arcade.
Yeah.
The consoles next week, so
there are interesting. I think it's next week. There's like some interesting Game Pass games. Like, damn it. There's Flintlock. It's kind of like a Dark Souls-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Dungeons of Command.
Hinterberg, right?
Hinterberg or Hinterland, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hinterberg?
Yeah, Hinterberg.
So you guys Dungeons of Hinterberg? Like, it was on the Xbox Showcase last year. I want to say we all were like, oh, that looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it privately, but yes.
I don't know about you guys. I'm gonna be playing that for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. There's that. That's the 18th, so probably not. Maybe we'll have played a bit of it. And also, what'd you say Flintlock is like though, Jeff?
It's like a Dark Soul. It's like by the
Okay.
people who made Ashen, which was like a Dark Souls ripoff. I'm interested. I'm gonna check it out. Like the trailer, like the Ashen was, I thought, pretty low budget, and then never like these people are that copy them, but this looked like I'll try it out for free. You know what I mean?
Right. So yeah, Dungeons of Hinterberg is the 18th. Flintlock is the 18th, and also Nintendo World Championships.
Is anyone getting that? No.
I don't think so. It's a cool idea, but
it's for free, maybe.
Yeah,
if it was free, if it was like fucking, Tetris 99, like here you go. I don't know if I'd pay for. God bless if you're gonna buy it, go for it. But I have no interest.
It's what? Why is it? It's $30. That's not bad.
No, it's not bad, but I just, me personally, have no real interest in that. Like,
yeah, I want to see how people kind of react to it.
Yeah,
if it's actually fun, like the little mini game stuff they have, and we'll see. But yeah, we'll have some stuff. Maybe Earl will have, what is that? Splintered Fate.
Yeah,
That's the one. So maybe if he's feeling good, we'll have Splintered Fate on. That's coming to the Switch after being locked on Apple. So
Renaissance Kingdom Wars.
Renaissance Kingdom Wars. Can't forget that one. Is that actually out next week?
Comes out on the 15th.
How do you keep these made up games in your head?
I have a spreadsheet. I keep track.
Okay.
That's good because I'm looking at a list of like
these games aren't on there. You're like,
what is this game? 2024 in video games on Wikipedia does not have
Songs of Steel Hispania came out today. I'm just saying, like, it's out there. You could play it right now if you wanted to.
That's also not a game that unfortunately made the Wikipedia entry. You should actually go in and edit those in. Like, what are these games?
How could you leave these out? I mean, clearly you're doing a disservice to humanity. You need to tell people about these.
Tony might have some strategy games for us next week. All right. Well, everyone enjoy their weekend. Jeff, say goodnight.
Good night.